Hello, everybody. It is almost 6 o'clock. We've been here since just before 9 a.m. And today was the first chemo day. I feel fine. I feel completely 100% normal. Anybody who's going into chemo for their very first day, it is just the longest doctor's appointment you've ever had. So mine was TCHP. So it's 2 HER2 positive targeted immunotherapies, and then 2 chemotherapies. And each have their own side effects, but for the most part, the side effects of all of them is nausea. And then the Progetta, if I'm saying it right, is pretty intense diarrhea. So far I feel fine. But, you go in, you sit down with the financial office, which everybody who's contributed to the GoFundMe or sent a Zelle or sent a Venmo, I can't thank you enough. This is such an expensive, crazy expensive thing. And I wouldn't be able to do this without the support that you guys have sent. So it's going to end up being pretty much what everybody sent so far. And that's just for the co-pays and to get the out-of-pocket and all of that kind of stuff. So I appreciate that. That has been beyond helpful and just a weight off of our shoulders. After you meet with them, then you go in and you do regular vitals. They do your weight, so they make sure that your dosage is just exactly right. And they do your, heart rate and your blood pressure and all that kind of stuff. And then the doctor comes in and sits down and talks to you, asks if you have any questions. So sweet, goes over everything. No rush, no nothing. Answer anything you've got, and then they call you back to the infusion room. So the infusion room is just a big giant room. Well, here it's just a big giant room with a bunch of chairs. I was there all day, half the day by myself. Most of the time, depending on what kind of chemo you're getting, it's anywhere from an hour or two to, I think my next several times will be about 4.5 hours as opposed to 8. So yeah, you just sit in a chair, you get comfy, it's a recliner. Dave, so I did cry. So Dave and I had planned that we were just going to hang out together. We were going to watch movies, play cards, chat, nap, whatever, because I was under the impression that he could stay with us. As it turns out, they don't like other people just because there's zero privacy. It's just a big room with a bunch of chairs. And, people are on chemo, so their immune systems are pretty low. And, some people are much worse than me. So they are very careful about making sure that everybody's safe and having as few people in there as possible. But I wasn't expecting it, and when they told me that Dave was going to have to leave, it was like instant tears. Don't know why. But it was instant tears when they said he couldn't stay. And my nurse, Mandy, fantastic, love her to pieces. She saw me, she's like, oh, I'm going to talk to somebody. He could stay as long as he wants. And she got it done. Dave did end up leaving because it was an 8-hour day, and he threw his back out and he didn't get a recliner. So sitting in that chair was less than ideal for him. So being the absolute hero savior of the day, he went and got me a sandwich and brought it to me and had lunch. And then he went home for the rest of the day and came back and sat with me for the last about 30-45 minutes, and now we're on our way home. So basically it's just the world's longest doctor's appointment where you get a recliner. You're hooked up to the IVs. They're on a pole. If you need to go to the bathroom, you just take your pole with you. If you want to go get ice, they've got coffee and ice and juice and stuff. You can go get that, or they'll bring it to you. You can walk around. It's a little awkward because, like I said, it's a big room full of chairs and you don't really want to walk around people. But you can. The recliner goes pretty far back and it's squishy. So I did take a little, probably 20-minute cat nap. They start with your pre-meds. So they load you up with steroids and anti-nausea medication. Then they start the first round. And for me, that was the Progetta. And that takes a little over an hour. And then they watch you for an hour to make sure you're not going to have a reaction to it. And then they did the next one, same thing. The infusion took a little over an hour. And then they watched me for an hour to make sure I wasn't going to have a reaction to it. And then we started the chemos. So today, and they're loading doses, so they take a little bit longer. So, like I said, next time it won't take quite as long. It's still a 4.5 hour day. But, yeah, I mean, anybody who's going into chemo and they're afraid of the chemo day, you know, if you have a port, they just pop it in that bad boy and make sure they lidocaine it. Mine was not lidocained. You could feel it. But once it was in, it was totally fine. And never felt it for the rest of the day. Never felt it coming out. It was just a stinger. Smarted a little when it went in. But next time I'll have lidocaine and I won't even feel it. So there's that. None of the medications made me feel anything other than when they put the saline flush in at the beginning and end, because it gives you that weird taste in your mouth. But they have a little peppermint candy, so they're just suck on the peppermint candy and that you won't even taste it. True story. Peppermints, not just for horses, you guys. So yeah, I mean, it was just a long day of sitting in a recliner. It was kind of tough. I know I had a lot of people reach out to me and I would have loved to have had conversations, but there were people there having conversations on their phone and it was just kind of rude. You know, there is zero privacy and everybody can hear everything everybody is saying. And if you are trying to listen to earbuds or watch a movie, obviously through earbuds, you know, people talking on the phone is a little rude, guys. It's a little rude. So I apologize to anybody who called me today and I answered you with a text message. It's not because I did not want to talk. It's because I did not want to be rude to everyone around me. I mean, we're headed home and I feel 100% fine. Completely normal. So, I've got 3 different anti-nausea medications. One I start tonight and I will take every night for 5 days. One that I will take every 8 hours, kind of morning and night. And then at the end of the 5 days, I will start a new one if I need it for, I think, 3 or 4 days. And then everything's just as needed. So they say stay ahead of the nausea. Don't wait till you get sick, because if you wait too long, you vomit up the pill. But also, and then you're chasing it as opposed to just feeling fine. Oh, and I have a really cool thing. Dave just reminded me. I have a really cool thing. You got a close-up of my head there. Wow, I'm so good at this. All right, I'm taking off my seatbelt. So, y'all gonna get a little friendly with my belly. So, I have an auto injector. So, they can put it on your belly, or they can put it on your arm. And in 27 hours, it is the coolest thing. Like, she literally puts the medicine in it in front of you, and then she puts it on you, and then in 27 hours, it'll beep, and it'll inject that in, it's a Nuestra or something like that, and then the little light on it turns solid green. You pull it off, throw it away, done deal, bam, bam. And it stimulates your bone marrow to make more blood cells, because chemo basically kills your blood cells. So to keep your blood counts up, both red and white, it stimulates your bone marrow, which apparently causes bone pain, much like growing pains, right? With little kids or babies, baby animals too, when they're growing and their bones are growing, you have growing pains, bone pain, and this is apparently similar to that, except unfortunately I'm not going to get any taller. And Claritin apparently is the number one thing that helps this bone pain, the stimulation of bone marrow. I don't know, guys. We're so many medications are used off label, it's not even funny, but it works, so we do it. So we're gonna keep on trucking. Some people get bone pain, some people don't. Sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's not. So I've got Claritin at home, I've got Imodium at home. I've got my prescriptions for anti-nausea. But honestly, first day chemo is pretty pleasant. It's just a day off in a recliner. Surrounded by people, so that was kind of awkward. But I don't really get awkward. I talk to people and have a good time. I took a nap, played some games. I did a lot of emails, did some work. Yeah, it's just a really laid back, chill day. And I feel totally fine. So, there's the day one chemo after the fact. I will check in tomorrow and let you guys know how that goes. I've got horses to work in the morning and a lesson. And, yeah, we'll see how it all goes. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. See you later, breasties.